Oh yeah, you know what day it is. It's Motivation Monday, the start of a new week of opportunity. What will you do with your Motivation Monday? Will you make the most of the opportunity it presents itself with? Last week, my power phrase of the week was learn how to turn fail into fuel. And we talked about that all week. And today, I want to talk to you still on that same topic, but I want to talk to you about effort. And the quote of the day today is, failure begins where effort ends. Now think about that. When do we really fail? If we're trying to accomplish something and we don't meet up to the expectations we had, if we stop, if our effort stops, then we truly did fail. That's when we fail. But when we keep going, when we continue with the effort, when we will just continue to live it out and work, then we never fail. We just learn from what happened and we continue striving higher. We don't let that stop us. One of my favorite stories that lines up with this is the story of Diana Nyad, who was a long distance swimmer. And she became famous in the 70s and early 80s for all the long distance swims that she did. She set records for distance swimming in open ocean. But her lifetime dream, her goal for her whole life, was to swim from Cuba to Florida, to swim across the Gulf of Mexico, about 100 miles from Cuba to Florida. And she was a young lady. She tried multiple times to swim that gap, only to be stopped every time, sometimes by jellyfish stings, sometimes by the current, which was so strong it blew her off course and she couldn't get back on, sometimes by the weather. But every time she tried, she couldn't make it. But she'd try again until a certain point when she just decided, I'm done trying. And at that point, that failure, that lack of accomplishing her goal, was just stuck in her mind. And she thought about it for years. And then finally, years later, in her 60s, she decided, I gotta do this. My effort has not stopped. I'm gonna continue doing this until I make it. And everybody thought, oh, she's crazy. She's too old to do this. She tried when she was a young woman. She couldn't make it. She's not gonna make it again. But she would not stop. Her effort would not stop. And so Diana Nyad stepped into the waters off the beach in Cuba and began swimming. And she swam stroke after stroke, one after another, stroke by stroke, through the day, through the night, no rest, following her goal, knowing in her mind that the border of failure begins where the border of effort ends. And so she kept swimming. And finally, she stepped onto the beach in Key West. She had covered those 100+ miles of open ocean through jellyfish, sharks, waves, current. She conquered what she set out to conquer all those years ago. But the only reason she was there that day, the only reason she was there that day, is because she would never stop the effort. She would never stop trying. It took her years. It took her a pause where she didn't do it for years. But she was always planning. She was always working, staying in shape, knowing one day that chance would come the opportunity would present itself, and Diana Nyad made the most of her opportunity. So the quote of the day that you should put to work in your life is that the border of failure begins where the border of effort ends. When you quit trying, when you quit working, then is when you've hit failure. So those opportunities are there. Never stop working. Understand it. Understand that you can turn fail to fuel. And when the opportunity presents itself, don't miss it. Make the most of every opportunity. And we mow everywhere we go.